Chesnay Keppler was an ordinary South African woman. She should have been afforded the chance to grow up, to have a family, to get married, and to live a long life. But her life was tragically robbed from her in the worst fashion possible. And today we are going to be examining the case of Chesnay, and we're also going to be looking at failures in South Africa's justice system. And why has it taken almost a year for other people to have been arrested when there were multiple eyewitnesses to this crime? So let's start with Chesnay. Chesnay was beautiful. She was absolutely beautiful. She was vivacious. She had this magnetic presence that you can see through her photographs. And her life was tragically robbed from her on the 26th of December 2024. That was last year, Boxing Day. Because you see, Chesnay was in a relationship with an older man, a cop, and his name is Mandla Buthelezi. Now, Mandla Buthelezi, obviously he has a lot of issues, because I believe that there were reports of domestic violence incidences that had occurred before, and Mandla rocked up at Chesnay's friend's house on Boxing Day, and he wanted her to leave with him. And she refused. She was there, she was with her friends, and this just shows you that women in South Africa, we sometimes are not even safe when we are with a friend group. Because what allegedly occurred is that Mandla went back into his car, his police car, where he pulled out his service weapon, and he allegedly shot Chesnay through the window of the friend's house, killing her. Now, we know that those last moments of Chesnay's life must have been absolutely horrific. She had locked herself in the friend's house. She thought that she was safe. She was trying to get away. And next thing you know, he shot her allegedly through the window. But that's not all. That's not all, because Mandla allegedly had help. Help in the form of his partner at the time, Llewellyn Myers. Now, Llewellyn, he is only recently been arrested, and we have to call into question about why is this
that was very heartbreaking, speaking to the community, speaking to the family, and that also propelled the community to do a march to go to the police station, where they were saying that they had ventilated these issues, but it has now escalated into gender-based violence, and nothing was done by the person that was in charge of the police station, and therefore demanding that there be some accountability that takes place.
The main suspect in this case, I think everything has been locked up already. But the problem is the other suspects that are also involved. They haven't been charged yet, and we haven't had an update yet.
Because while Mandla was allegedly busy unaliving Chesnay, Llewellyn pulled out his own weapon, was firing shots, because he has been charged with attempted murder, while he has also busy trying to prevent the friends from protecting Chesnay. And this must have been a very chaotic scene. Chesnay was rushed to hospital, and she was declared dead on arrival. She couldn't make it. The amount of damage that police service weapon did to her. Now, Mandla would flee the scene of the crime. He has since claimed that he has been under the influence of alcohol. And we know that many people drink alcohol, but, sometimes it can heighten certain emotions. But it is never a reason to unalive someone. It is never a reason. Drinking alcohol, being intoxicated, does not give you the right to unalive someone. And we know that Mandla fled the scene of the crime, and he inflicted a gunshot wound to himself, but it wasn't successful because he was later recaptured and hospitalized. And the concerning thing about this case is that Mandla already showed, in my opinion, a lot of concerning traits. The fact that he bought his friend allegedly, Llewellyn with him to intimidate the friends while he was committing his crime. The fact that both of these men are South African Police Service members. As a member of the South African Police Service, in my opinion, you represent all South Africans, and your behavior should be good on all times. Even if you are off duty, you still should not be using the taxpayers funded vehicles and service weapons to, commit your bad deeds. And we know that
place on Boxing Day last year. Buthelezi has been in custody since his arrest. Watching developments for us from inside court is Calvin Dludla, who joins us now live. And Calvin, the last time we were in court, Chesnay's father had expressed his hope that this man won't be granted bail.
We're at the courtroom number 7 of the Protea Magistrate Court. That is where we're expecting Mandla Buthelezi, the 42-year-old murder accused, to appear again in this very same court for the judgment on his bail application. When we were here last week with Kwazi, both the state and the defense made submissions to the presiding officer, Magistrate Tubatlas, the legal defense, saying that the accused should be granted a bail of 2,000 rand because he won't evade trial, and he won't intimidate witnesses. Advocate Arnold Mbongera, who's representing Buthelezi, telling the court that the accused does not have pending cases and he does not have a passport, which means that he won't flee, saying that the accused is a sole breadwinner, and because he is incarcerated, that is financially straining the family of the accused. But the prosecutor Dube responding to that, saying that no, the accused is not a sole breadwinner. Remember, the accused Ayanda resigned as a police sergeant at the El Dorado Park police station where he was stationed, saying that the accused is not only a danger to society but a danger to himself. There were reports that said that the accused tried to commit suicide by turning a firearm, a service pistol, on himself, but fortunately he survived, because we are told that the bullet grazed his head and he survived. He was admitted at the Chesnay Keppler hospital here in Soweto. Also, there is a sworn statement that was read here in court by Prosecutor Dube. That sworn statement, is from the wife of the accused, the wife alleging that the accused was about to flee to Mozambique. That is why the state is saying that he should not be granted bail. So we are here today. We are waiting for the presiding officer to Batlas to explain to the accused about the result or the judgment on this bail application.
I made a TikTok about it, calling the judiciary out, saying, you know what, we have been failed. As South African women, we have been failed during Women's Month when there is such a lot of evidence against him, and legal minds will say that bail isn't meant to be punitive. I understand that. Bail is not meant to be a punishment. But when you have someone who has already been intimidating people in the community, I said in that TikTok that I'm concerned that, him being out in the community and his ability to influence witnesses. The judiciary has failed yet another woman in South Africa in Women's Month. Now, her name, look at her, she was just 22 years old. Her name was Chesnay Keppler, and she should have been allowed to grow up properly. She was only 22 years old. She was still a baby. And what happened is that she started dating this guy here. He was a police officer. He's a former police officer now. He is 42 years old, and his name is Mandla Buthelezi. Now, according to eyewitnesses, it is alleged that on Boxing Day 2024, so that's last year, Mandla arrived at his girlfriend's house and he had an altercation with her. She wanted her to leave with him to get into the car, and she refused, and friends got involved, right? And that's when he went into his car and got his service weapon, and she was terrified. She spent her last moments on this earth terrified because she had allegedly been abusive before, and she ran back into her house, right, to hide from him, and she locked the door. But he didn't care because allegedly he took his service weapon and he fired it through the window, and he allegedly murdered her in cold blood. and my blood is boiling at the moment because he has now been released on bail. She was a crime warden in Eldorado Park and he was a police officer. And I don't know what is going through the judiciary's mind where they are releasing alleged GBV murderers out on bail. Now, comment below if you agree with me that there should be no bail for crimes against women and children.
Mandla Buthelezi has been postponed to the 11th of this month along his co-accused. I'm talking about Llewellyn Myers. But let me introduce the father of the deceased. I'm talking about Chesnay Keppler. Baba, thank you very much. You seem so disturbed. Where is the problem?
You know, I've lost a child. And then people have a smirk and smile on their faces. I mean, really. I've lost my daughter, and they have smirks and smiles on their faces, the family members of the accused. Yeah, that just shows you the level of no remorse that's going through their heads. Hey? Like I said, I'm a bit emotional, and it touched me inside there, and there's not much I can say.
Let's talk about the second accused now. We hear that Llewellyn Myers was arrested on Friday. How do you feel about that, your reaction on the arrest of the second accused?
Like I said, he made his choice that night. That fateful night, he made his choice. You either act as a police officer and perform your duties. He never did that. So he made his choice. And that's the reason why we're here. Because he never performed his duties that night. So that's the reason why he was arrested. Because he said he did nothing. That's what he said. He did nothing. But it's because he did nothing. As a police officer, he knows his duties. So he was supposed to act, and he never did that. And that's the reason why we're here today. Simple.
Thank you very much, Mr. Trevor.
Okay.
I think we are talking about legal issues here. The case has been transferred to the High Court. What does that mean?
Thank you, sir. So, formal indictments have been served on both accused today, who is Mandla Buthelezi as well as Llewellyn Myers. They face a range of charges which include murder, attempted murder, defeating the ends of justice, as I understand, and also contravention of the IPID Act in various aspects. Now, because that formal indictment has been served on them, the matter is now transferred for trial purposes to the Johannesburg High Court, and the matter is in court for pre-trial purposes set down for the 11th of September. So those three pre-trial purposes are to narrow down the issues, to see what both sides of the spectrum are saying with regards to matters that are agreed on, matters that are not agreed on, with regards to getting the matter ready for trial. After that, a trial date will then be set, and then justice, as the family is demanding, will then be served. So that is just the legal parameters of where we find ourselves.
And I'm making this video now because I have just received news, and today is the 11th of September, exactly a month after Mandla was granted bail. I have just received news that he has been rearrested and his bail has been revoked. Guess why? He is accused of intimidating witnesses. Now, I have been receiving some intimidation myself on TikTok from members of Llewellyn Myers' family. And let me tell you guys, I'm not someone who you can easily threaten. The more you threaten me, the more videos I'm going to make on this subject. Because you know what? As South Africans, social media is one of the only ways that we can hold people accountable. And Chesnay's family has been dedicated. I've been watching videos of her father, and he is absolutely traumatized by this whole case. Now, we know that we are still awaiting a decision on Llewellyn's bail. Hopefully, the judiciary will keep him in jail where I believe he belongs, because I honestly believe that this man also has the ability to intimidate witnesses. His members of his family have already been coming after me on TikTok, and that is a form of intimidation. Now, I will be following this case, so if you like what I do, consider giving me a like and a follow. And I've introduced memberships. I've put them on the lowest tier possible. If you would like to support me in any way, please consider getting a membership. And thank you so much for watching this video.
Hi. Like I said, I'm a bit emotional, and it touched me inside there, and there's not much I can say.
Let's talk about the second accused now. We hear that Llewellyn Myers was arrested on Friday. How do you feel about that, your reaction on the arrest of the second accused?
Like I said, he made his choice that night. That fateful night, he made his choice. You either act as a police officer and perform your duties. He never did that. So he made his choice. And that's the reason why we're here, because he never performed his duties that night. So that's the reason why he was arrested, because he said he did nothing. That's what he said. He did nothing. But it's because he did nothing. As a police officer, he knows his duties. So he was supposed to act, and he never did that. And that's the reason why we're here today. Simple.
Thank you very much, Mr. Trevor.
Okay.
Thank you very much. That was Mr. Trevor, the father of the late Chesnay Keppler. Let me introduce the family representative. I'm talking about Advocate Bloom. Thank you very much. Now we are talking about legal issues here. The case has been transferred to the High Court. What does that mean?
Thank you, sir. So, formal indictments have been served on both accused today, with Mandla Buthelezi as well as Llewellyn Myers. They face a range of charges which include murder, attempted murder, defeating the ends of justice, as I understand, and also contravention of the IPID Act in various aspects. Now, because that formal indictment has been served on them, the matter is now transferred for trial purposes to the Johannesburg High Court, and the matter is in court for pre-trial purposes set down for the 11th of September. So those three pre-trial purposes are to narrow down the issues, to see what both sides of the spectrum are saying with regards to matters that are agreed on, matters that are not agreed on, with regards to getting the matter ready for trial. After that, a trial date will then be set, and then justice, as the family is demanding, will then be served. So that is just the legal parameters of where we find ourselves. So the pre-trial processes do not happen in the lower courts. They happen in the higher courts for the charges that the accused are facing. And then the matter is going to the Johannesburg High Court, as I indicate, and for pre-trial purposes and for trial purposes.
Can we expect more arrests?
No, that is the full spectrum of the arrests. The accused, so just so that we all understand, the accused number one is accused of the murder of Chesnay Keppler. Accused number two is charged with issues that don't particularly relate to that murder, but events that happened just half an hour prior to the murder. That's why the cases are linked, because both police officers were together, and the execution of the crime of the second accused, which is attempted murder, and various other charges flow then into the murder charge. That's why the two charges are combined. But the first accused and the second accused are both not charged for murder. The second accused is only charged for attempted murder, unrelated to the Chesnay Keppler shooting.